Hi, welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm doing thrift flips. Now let's get crafting. This first thrift flip is this really cool little cork holder that I found at the Goodwill. Gosh, it was last spring, I think. I spray painted it with Rust-Oleum's 2-in-1 paint and primer in the semi-gloss, and I did about 3 or 4 coats, just light ones to build up. And then I've got these little LED wire lights from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use those and these gorgeous flowers from the Dollar Tree that I've had for quite a while. And I'm going to use my little tin snips, which are in my Amazon store linked below, to go ahead and cut all the little flower stems off because I want to put them inside this cork holder. I'm going to turn it into a really pretty floral arrangement with lights, almost to look like a birdcage kind of, but not a birdcage. Does that make sense? This DIY is almost too easy. After I painted it, I'm literally just arranging the flowers inside. I'm not gluing them down so I can change them out seasonally if I want. And then I'm going to put the light inside and literally, that's it. It's already got a hanger on the back to hang it up. And just imagine I could change out those florals or put birds in there, whatever it is. Fake birds, not real birds, obviously. And just hang it up. It's so cute. I absolutely love it. And honestly, if you can ever find one of these, you could even use like one of the wreath forms from Dollar Tree, the ones like the football shape or the basket shape hanging planter. You could turn a lot of things into this. I know it's hard to find the exact items at thrift stores, but just use your imagination and take inspiration from this. And that's kind of what I did when I found it. I didn't know I was going to be able to find something like this, but I'm loving how it turns out, and I've already got it up in my house. I'm super excited. I've always wanted something like this. You guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if it's something you would maybe want to try, if you could find something that would work. And the last thing I'm going to do is just pull some of the flower petals through the cage and pull some of the leaves through so it looks like it's kind of overgrown. And I just love it. I didn't want them just stuffed and squished inside there. So to me, this really makes it look cute, like when they start to stick out a little bit. And that's it. Literally, this one is done. Today's video is a collaboration with Catherine at A Perfect Place to Start, and this is her Thrifted Thursdays series. Catherine's channel has so many amazing things. She does seasonal decor, Dollar Tree DIYs, home decor, thrift to treasure. You've got to go visit her channel. I'll have her video link and channel link down in my description box. Please tell her that Lisa Marie sent you and show her some love. She has a wonderful channel and is so creative and talented. And if you are coming over from Catherine's channel, welcome. I am happy to meet you, and I am so glad that you're here. I hope you'll consider joining me on YouTube by hitting the red subscribe button and then turning on the notification bell so you always know when I have a new video coming up. I do all kinds of DIYs in different styles and gardening in the spring and summer. There's something for everyone. I've got this beautiful wooden cross, and it's etched in the front, and it just says, "Be a living sacrifice." And I think it's beautiful as it is, but I did want to do something different to it. So I cleaned it up with a little bit of rubbing alcohol because I noticed that it was super dusty. And then I removed the little hanger in the back, and I can put that back later. In the meantime, I'm going to actually start pulling out supplies. This is what I do when I don't know what I want to do with something. I just pull out everything that I could possibly want to use, and then I narrow it down as I go, and I just kind of go from there. I'm going to take my white primer in the Kills brand, and I'm going to cover this entire front and the sides, not the back, of this cross because that stain isn't really my favorite look. So I wanted to get rid of it, and then I could kind of do anything I want after that. So this kind of gives it a nice neutral base. And I'm not doing a full coat because I'm going to put paper and different things on it, as you will see here in just a minute. I'm going to use my heat tool to dry this, which makes it go 3 times as fast, and that's in my Amazon store as well. Great tool. And then I've got a bunch of scrapbook paper. So this is the first one. It's a very heavy cardstock, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to trace out just for that little top square and then the piece that continues down, but not the bar that goes across the cross. So I'm just going to use my square and connect the lines that I drew, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut it out. I have recently been very intrigued by paper crafting and mixed media, and a friend of mine, Linda, who has a wonderful channel which is called Faith Chick 777's DIY by Design. I'll have a link in my description box so you can check her out. She does the most beautiful things I have ever seen, and it just makes me want to use paper. So I've been experimenting, and this is going to be one of those projects. I'm going to take the two pieces that I cut out, and I'm going to use my decoupage to adhere the scrapbook paper to the cross. And you don't have to put the top coat on because it's just so thick, it's not necessary. And I did put a generous amount on to begin with. And I'm loving the way it's looking already, and I just barely started. And then I have another piece of scrapbook paper that I'm going to cut out that I'm going to place on the horizontal bar of the cross, except for the very center, which I'm going to do something different there. I have a little piece that came off of a Dollar Tree sign that I had already put some scrapbook paper on, but I didn't end up using it. And so I'm going to use that one in this project. And then I've also got this little frame that I saved from a Christmas ornament. I'm going to cut off the excess with my little utility knife, and then I'm going to sand it down and get rid of any rough edges because I did rip fabric off of it at the time when I took it apart. And once that's done, I'm going to take my antique wax stain by Waverly, and I'm actually going to go around the entire front of it, the inside edge and the outside edge, and I'm going to stain it. And once I apply that, I will wipe some off with a towel when I'm done because I don't want it too dark. I just want it to look like it's stained. I'm going to hot glue that other little piece that I had covered in scrapbook paper right to the center, and then I'm going to take another piece of scrapbook paper that has scripture on it, and I'm going to use that little frame to figure out how big it needs to be. And what I'm cutting out is actually the Lord's Prayer, which is in the bigger font in the center of what I'm cutting out, and I just love that so much. Oh my gosh, the perfect prayer on the perfect cross. It just doesn't get any better than that. I'm going to use just a teeny bit of hot glue and attach it to that frame, and then I will attach that right over that center piece on the cross itself. And I just think it's so cool. And the only thing, it's a little crooked, but let's pretend that nobody else notices that and I can live with it. So that's how that's going to go. And then I've got these two little cutouts of the word inspire and the word thankful. Inspire was sent to me by a YouTube friend from Dollar Tree, and Thankful was from the Target dollar spot back in the fall. I had already painted the Thankful in my metallic silver by Folklore, so I'm now doing that with the Inspire because I just really think it pops when it's got that silver right on there. And then I'm going to go around the edges with a little Sharpie marker. Can't get into the little teeny spots, but the parts you can see for the most part will have the black. I'm going to do that to both the Thankful and the Inspire. Then I'm going to take a little bit more scrapbook paper, and this one just has a pretty little design and it says Family Forever on it, and I'm going to use that and cut a piece to put across the bar at the top, and then I will set the word thankful on it with hot glue, and I will do the same thing down below with the Inspire word, and I'm going to attach them also with the Mod Podge. Tip. If you're using hot glue on something that's really small like this that has a lot of gaps, don't ever lift up your hot glue gun. Just keep it touching the surface, and that way you won't get the glue webs. I decided to use some sheet music scrapbook paper for the word inspire, and I thought that was really cool. It's almost like, you know, I'm inspired to worship, and so that's what my thinking was behind that. took my X-Acto knife and I'm just trimming off any little excess scrapbook paper that hung over the edge. And then I'm going to sand all around every edge of this and just make sure that it's all flush. And that gives it a little bit of an antique kind of a look, which I really like. And then I'm going to use the Antique Wax by Waverly and rub around the edges, so now I have some good edges to rub that on. And then I'm going to actually distress more than that. I'm going to go around all the white sides and make it look like a lighter wood, and then I'm going to distress over the top. And if I get too much on there, I just take a wet baby wipe and wipe it away, and that way I have control over. As long as you do it right away while it's still wet, that will work. And I really like the antique look this is giving it. It's just exactly what I wanted it to look like. And since I didn't like the original stain in the first place, I took the Antique Wax and I went over the back side, because I do like to finish my projects, and I think this made it look a little bit nicer, at least in my opinion. And then I can put the hanger back on. Guys, I love this one. I hope you really like it. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Did you know that I'm on social media? You can find me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Same name, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. Come on over and say hi. This cute little tray that I found is from Holland, or the Netherlands, and it's got that blue and white tile. There's 4 pieces of tile in the front, and then it's got a wood, base. And I'm going to clean it with some rubbing alcohol because, of course, it gets dirty sitting in thrift stores. And then I've got these peel and stick tiles from the Dollar Tree, and I just think they're gorgeous. So I'm going to start off by centering a solid one right in, the middle, and then I will try to piece the rest together around that. I think that is the easiest way to do it. It's not like a floor where I want to start in the corner. I want this to have a centerpiece, if you will. And I'm going to get some more of those tile pieces, and I'm going to figure out the best way to attach them. The hardest part was getting it flush up against the edge. A couple times I got it right there, and a couple times there was a gap. So you'll see in a little bit how I try to deal with that gap. But I think it came out good, and so I'm not going to worry too much about that little teeny gap. I'm going to go ahead and just continue piecing it so that the lines are all, where they're supposed to line up. Now, when I'm all done with these pieces, I end up with 4 little corners left. That's where it gets tricky, because it turns out I only have 3 pieces that fit in those corners, so I kind of had to wing it on the last one, but I think I figured out a way to camouflage it. So you'll have to let me know if you think that worked. So you see how I got the corner there, and I'm going to stick it in, and like I said, I've got 3 of those, and I'm using a blade to just kind of cut all the way up to the edge, and sometimes I do a good job of that, and sometimes I don't, and I don't know why that is. And like there, I had a big gap, so I was able to cut another piece on that one, but it wasn't as easy to do on the other ones. And then when I get to the very 4th little corner, I didn't have a piece like that. So I found one that looked the most similar. You see how it's not the same? But it's not like horribly wrong. Anyway, I came up with a solution. I'm going to use an Arteza silver marker and try to go around those edges where I didn't quite line it up flush to the wood edge. And it never really gets it the way I want it. So then I am going to try with some steel Waverly chalk paint. And so I go ahead and I do that, but then you see the line. So then I got out my chippy brush and I thought, you know what? I don't want this to be quite this shiny anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to dry brush over the whole thing. But first I'm going to paint the wood base all in that steel color. I love that color, and I think it'll match really well. Not too fond of that shade of wood that it was. So as I'm doing this, it took about 2 coats. And then I also took a little bit of the silver metallic folklore paint, and I just very lightly dry brushed that over the gray on the handles and the base. And now I'm doing the steel over the top of the tiles, and that gets rid of some of the shine, and it helps camouflage some of those edges that I filled in. I'm going to do that also with the silver on all of the wood and the center. And then because I still see that gray, I will come back in with some of my white paint and just very lightly dry brush around the entire thing. And that way it really camouflages it. And so I feel like once I hit it with the white, you know, and then I was getting it on the wood, so I thought, ooh, I kind of like that. So I very lightly dry brushed. And you guys know dry brushing is you put very little on your brush, wipe most of it off, and then drag it across your surface. That way you can control just how much is on there. I am loving how this turned out. I really do think it came out really nice. And I did put Mod Podge all over it. And you will see it in the final reveal, what it looks like when it's all dry. But I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys like it. And now for one last look at all 3 of my thrift flip projects. I really hope you enjoyed this. I really enjoyed making them. Don't forget to go visit Catherine's channel, a perfect place to start. Her video link for this collaboration will be in my description box along with her channel link. I know you're going to love her. She is a sweetheart. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the time that you take to watch my videos. It means so much. I will hope to see you in my next video, and please remember that you are a blessing to me.